Paris, a city known for some of the most beautiful hotels in the world. When most people think of visiting Paris, they picture staying right in the heart of the city. But just 12.5 kilometers from the Eiffel Tower, I found a hotel that completely changed my expectations. The Moxy Paris Clamart Hotel in Clamart, just outside the city. I knew it was Marriott's lifestyle brand, but beyond that, I wasn't really sure what else to expect. When I was planning this trip, I searched YouTube to see what other people had to say about the Moxy Paris Clamart. To my surprise, there was only one video and it didn't answer many of the questions I had. So I thought I'd share my experience in case you're considering staying here too. After spending a few days here, I have a much better idea of what the brand is all about and whether I'd stay here again. Come with me and let me show you what I discovered. I'm Catherine and welcome to Katra Adventures. I travel quite a bit, both for business and for pleasure, and one of the things I enjoy most is discovering hotels that offer genuine value, not just beautiful photos online. Before heading up to my room, I spent a few minutes simply walking around the property. The courtyard has a quiet elegance that immediately changes your first impression. It's one of those moments that reminds you not to judge a hotel before you've actually experienced it. Inside, the personality of the hotel begins to come through. The lobby feels relaxed, comfortable, more like a place people actually spend time than simply walk through. It's colorful and social. Check-in was warm and efficient, and as a Marriott Bonvoy Titanium Elite member, I got a few perks. Let's go check out my room. Top floor. What's kind of nice being a Bonvoy member is that they have it in my profile that I like the higher up rooms. I know I'm not staying at a luxury collections property. This is a lifestyle functional hotel. Going into the room, I expected exactly what Moxy is known for. Smart design, a smaller footprint, everything you need without a lot of extras. And especially around Paris, compact rooms are pretty normal. This room actually reminds me of one of the town suites rooms. Walking around the room, I had no real expectations beyond what I'd read online. This was my first Moxy experience, so I was curious to see what made the brand different. My first impression? Exactly what I expected, or so I thought. With my room upgrade, I got much appreciated extra space, but what I enjoyed most were the two windows overlooking the courtyard. It made the room feel bright and peaceful and surprisingly quiet. For me, this is where hotel loyalty programs can make a difference. Not just the points, but the little things that make a trip more memorable. The bathroom. The bathroom tells you a lot about a hotel. As commonly found in European hotels, most bathrooms are compact. This one was no different. Simple, clean, and functional. And like most Marriott properties, you can find the standard toiletries in the shower. Having stayed at a lot of hotels, there's one thing that's very important to me, and I always check: the hairdryer. And this was one thing that I was not expecting at this property. The hairdryer was bright pink, impossible to mix, and surprisingly, really good. I've spent a lot of time in hotel rooms with a lot of hairdryers. This one excited me so much that I dedicated a whole photography session to it. One thing Moxy does quite well is create a social atmosphere. The lobby isn't just somewhere you walk through. It's somewhere you sit, have a drink, catch up, or relax after a day of exploring. Breakfast was available here as well, and through my Bonvoy benefits, I received a breakfast credit. It's simple, convenient, and exactly what you need before heading back into Paris. So much better than the standard continental breakfast offerings in North America. I was able to capture this footage because I arrived at 6 a.m. just when the breakfast service was starting, so nobody was around and I got some clear views. They offered pastries which were quite fresh actually, from croissants to crepes. You also had the option of having scrambled eggs, of course. There was an assortment of bread as well as cold cuts and cheese and yogurt available. You can also help yourself to a variety of different coffee styles, from Americano to an espresso. The breakfasts were quite enjoyable because the people were conversational around you and they were quite friendly. Now let's step outside, because this is where I think Clamart has a charm of its own. Across the street, a neighborhood boulangerie. This showcased fresh pastries made daily on site. Nearby everyday conveniences, people going about doing their normal routines. It feels less like visiting Paris and more like getting a tiny glimpse of living there. The most personal surprise of this trip was right by my hotel. I noticed there was a beauty institute nearby, so I naturally had to take a look because aesthetics is my world. And sitting on the shelf and looking at the window, I saw something very familiar: Elterderm. For anyone who doesn't know, Elterderm is the Canadian skincare company I co-founded. Seeing something we created being used here in a quaint aesthetic institute outside of Paris was pretty special. It was one of those unexpected travel memories you just don't plan for. This is just a glimpse of what everyday life can be like outside of Paris. Imagine that. Neighborhood French cuisine, the Bistro Papa Poule. Quite delicious. If you're wondering about transportation, there's plenty of ways to go around, and I've outlined a few of the tourist places, as well as the distance between the two different airports, Charles de Gaulle and Paris-Orly Airport. So you'll understand the distance, or at least get a perspective of what it's like to travel from the Moxy Paris Clamart Hotel to the tourist areas and also to and fro the airports. So would I stay at the Moxy Paris Clamart again? Yes, I would. If you're looking for a hotel that's well connected to Paris, offers good value, and gives you a chance to experience a quieter neighborhood, I think the Moxy Clamart is definitely worth considering. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for spending part of your day with me and for watching my very first Katra Adventures video. Until the next adventure.